Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I'm your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern that's brought to you by the letters H and L for Haslab, baby. Codenamed Legion Cub.
And for anybody that just cannot wait for us to talk about the Snowcat, I've got 2 words for you. Chill out. We will get there. This is one of the shirts I found in my Amazon browsing that we talked about at Joe Fest last week. But this one, actually, not a bad shirt. I just don't know about the baby blue. It's not really my color, but it seemed appropriate for the chill out theme. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the show. Leave some feedback for us. 5 stars are the best stars. Follow us at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram and Blue Sky. While you're there at Instagram, go to the pinned stories and get yourself some Audible Interlude merch. We've got shirts. We've got hats, which, by the way, I finally saw, because I have not ordered a hat for myself. I finally saw one of the TeePublic hats at Joe Fest. Actually, a couple of them. There are a couple different colors there. And I will tell you right now, they look better than the hats that I had made a couple years ago or whenever it was. So the TeePublic hats, very nice. I'm happy to report. I'm going to have to order myself a couple of different colors, I think. So go there, get yourself some Audible Interlude merchandise, Audible Interlude podcast on Instagram. You are watching the Needless Things YouTube channel. We review toys. We do all kinds of fun stuff here. I had a great live stream with Word Burglar a couple of weeks ago where we talked about the Rhymes with Comics Kickstarter, which launched today and has already funded in under 4 hours. Go check that out. It is a great project. It's 15 of Word Burglar's tracks translated into a comic book anthology. Go check that out, back it, because he's awesome. He's good people, very talented artist, and we give Word Burglar all of our love and support.
And crowd funds faster than Hasbro.
Yeah. Well, the numbers were a little different.
Doesn't matter. Target's the target.
Yeah. I like how Noel's take on this. We'll get into it later on. Let's see, what else have we got? Our next live stream is right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel on July the 14th. Put it on your calendar, which means next week we will be back to an audio segments episode. We've already got it planned out. We're going to be recording Monday. It will be available wherever you get your podcasts next Friday, just like the audio version of this episode will be available this Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. What else have we got? There are a couple. We got to do some follow-up. First of all, the Audible Army Facebook group is jumping. We're having fun over there. You can either join with the link I'm about to post in the chat, if I can get my Facebook to work properly, or you can send an email send your email address, rather, to the messages at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Why did that just copy that? Let me try this again. There we go. Okay. New to streaming to level up.
Sorry, when you were like, why didn't that go? Thing on my screen popped up that said, do you want to send your link? So I thought,
okay.
What is it doing? And so yeah.
Well, that's where, if anybody wants to use StreamYard, we can get a little discount for the reference. But right now, I'm not so sure we're going to be using StreamYard come October. There might be some changes in the wings. So, yes, join the Audible Army Facebook group. The link is in the chat. Or, as I said, send your email address to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. We're having fun. The group is growing. And I try to do polls and stuff there, post things that are a little bit different from what we do on the socials. And also, we interact more directly there. I've definitely cut back on message interaction on the Instagram once you get into the group. All right. Follow up. Blowtorch, Frag Viper, Dark Lawn. We have too much to cover tonight to get into too much detail on those. Matter of fact, I'll tell you right now, we're going to be dropping segments tonight because there's no way we cannot be on this thing until 1 o'clock in the morning. It ain't going to happen. And there's just too much to talk about between the Joe Fest follow-up, some things with Fresh Monkey Fiction, and then, of course, the Haslab. Lots and lots to cover. But I will say Blowtorch, Frag Viper, Dark Lawn reviews by this time tomorrow will all be up on the Needless Things channel. And also the Super 7 Reaction Falcon, Jinx, and Royal Guard. Those reviews will all be coming in the next week. But we can real quick talk about those. Did you guys get those new classified figures? Oh, and by the way, Footloose will be here Wednesday. So that's cool.
So when Rekship sent me his text the day he was leaving for Joe Fest, how his classified figures arrived like just in time for him to get them. And I was like, oh, I just got the email. They'll be here Sunday. And then while I was driving back home on Sunday, I got individual actual shipping emails. So far, only Frag Viper has shown up. My Blowtorch and Dark Lawn are still en route, but Hasbro decided to send them all in 3 separate packages. And as I had shared with the guys, I was really lucky and found Footloose at Target. And then when I opened him up, he was missing his pack. So he had to go back. Wah, wah.
My Footloose was supposed to arrive by the 25th, and I haven't seen it yet. So, not sure what's up.
Really? From where?
From Pulse.
Oh, interesting.
But
see, I've gotten
sure
no notification of him whatsoever. Now, did yours ship, or you just got a thing?
I got the shipping notification. Shipping update for order, blah, blah, blah. Expected by Wednesday, June 25th. Don't have it.
Now, wait, was that one of the you're receiving this email because it's either been delayed or is about to ship?
All it says is expected by that day, and that was from...
Really?
Yeah.
Is it signed by John Lithgow? And any messages about not allowing dancing?
But then I got another one that says your message is it'll ship soon. The new approximate ship date is June 25th. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it'll get here eventually.
Their system is so jacked up right now. It's almost not even worth paying attention, other than as a heads up that sometime in the next few weeks it might ship. So if somewhere else ships it, go ahead and cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I thought I was going to get lucky to do, and canceled my pre-orders and then had to go back.
You canceled them when you found
as soon as I saw him on the shelf, I was like, oh, quick, let me cancel my pre-orders.
Right.
And then, but it's all good.
So I love all 3 of the figures that I have reviewed of the classified ones. They look great. They did a fantastic job with all 3 of them, and this is a solid run. And then the Reaction Plus figures, I still look. I feel like I've got to say it every time. I still don't care for the silver rivets, but otherwise, they're great. They're absolutely great. I think the Royal Guard is the standout of the bunch.
Oh,
I think this whole wave is the best they've done yet, in my opinion. Just all of the figures from it have been great. just a bit of a step up with the new ball jointed head. I don't know. I think they just got a little bit better detail on some of them.
I still just don't care about the head.
I don't
the
either.
ball joint doesn't do enough more than the swivel for me.
But
it's nice to see. It's fine.
I think I got a better. I mean, I just got a better head pose. Just the way that his head is turned, looks a little bit more natural. The way I've got my Falcon posed. And I think it's partially because he's tilted down a little bit.
Yeah, I think it works great on Jinx, and to me, she is the standout. Like, I love the Royal Guards, absolutely, because I want to get some more.
Yeah,
but I don't. Having her unmasked finally in 3 3/4 scale is like
huge.
Did you guys get the Cobra Commander from this wave?
No, because I didn't want to pay Entertainment Earth shipping on it. It should be available this weekend.
I wanted it early, so I went ahead and paid for it, and I got it. And it's a really nice figure as well. I saw. I believe it was Brett White in our Facebook page posted a picture of Roadblock carrying him, and I was like, okay, I think I have a spare V2 Roadblock figure that I can put with my Cobra Commander now.
Well, speaking of Brett White, he chimed in with, so glad Super 7 is getting all this practice in for when they finally get to the main attraction, Pythona. And Brett, I don't know if we'll be able to get to it tonight, maybe possibly, but you don't know how close you probably are.
And Brett's his next comment, that's the one thing I'm annoyed with, is that he can't carry that thing, that it's just a spore, and I guess he could put his hands out like this, but there's no way for anybody to grip it. So it's kind of an oddball accessory that I'm afraid is going to get lost.
Oh yeah, so there's no. Well, how would they've even? I guess they could have put little slots on the sides or something.
Yeah, put a little slot on the side or put a little peg at the bottom of it.
Yeah,
even one that you can remove.
Mm-hmm. Steve Martin chimed in with, my Rattler, Footloose, and Retro Cobra Trooper is supposed to deliver tomorrow, but he's a truck driver and won't be home until Thursday. No, have you gotten any updates for your Rattler?
No, I haven't got. The last thing I got was that it will ship soon. I think they do them alphabetically, because I've noticed people who have been getting them are like my friends whose names are like last name Brown. Yeah, because mine usually gets there last every time we do a Haslab.
You're even further down the line than I am, sadly. So this weekend, Once a Man Cobra Commander. Well, he's not Once a Man Cobra Commander. I really like that Super 7 is just Cobra Commander Enemy Leader. Like, they didn't feel like they needed to garnish it at all. Should be available everywhere else sometime this weekend. And the Target exclusive. Oh wait, I've got it in here. Well, we'll get to that. That's in the news. We'll wait on that. What else? Okay, Joe Fest panels. I was were you guys there? I barely even saw you. Did you go to Joe Fest? I don't know.
I had to leave early on Sunday because I had to be back to work at 6 a.m. on Monday morning. And with how my drive up adventure went.
Well, that's true. You didn't get in until like midnight on Friday.
Yeah.
So really, it only would have been Saturday.
Plenty of time. So I was really upset because the panels that obviously I was most interested in were on Sunday.
Well, fortunately for anybody who was not there Saturday, I was able to live stream the panels for Fresh Monkey Fiction, Super 7, and my mind just went blank. World War Hell, Grindhouse Toys. Yeah. Grindhouse Toys. Which that one was amazing because right as the panel started, hang on, I'm getting there. The Kickstarter funded. Like literally as the panel was starting. So I had the live stream going, and if you go, it's still up there on the channel. If you go watch that live stream, you can see the celebration in real time as we all found out the Kickstarter funded. It was like really special to be in the room for that and to happen to be streaming that. And then put Scott's up there real quick. Yes, I know we were all together. I was being facetious because literally I didn't spend, outside of our panel, I didn't spend more than half an hour with these guys the whole weekend.
Yeah, Scott, I feel like you and Rekship were the only people outside of the panel that saw all three of us in the same location at the same time. I also want to throw up real quick. C.S. Sherman said the voice acting panel with Brian Cummings was one of my favorites. He didn't just talk, he gave us voice acting activities and lessons.
That's awesome. I wanted to go to that.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a couple more I wanted to go to, but I really was trying to spend as much time as I could at the table, but also streaming those panels, but also going through the room. I barely got to talk to I didn't get to talk to Callsign Longbow or Ben from Skeletron. Like, there's so many people that I didn't get to see because there wasn't enough of me to go around.
Well, and that is something that I noticed was different this year. Not that there wasn't enough of you to go around, but even when I was running around trying to talk to people, like, last year I felt like the convention blew up. But I was still able to spend like a good 20-30 minutes chit-chatting with creators, and this time it just was like there are so many people at these booths. I feel kind of bad, so it's like, oh, let's talk as quickly as we can. Let me just say a few things, ask a couple of questions, and then move on, because there were just so many people.
Well, I didn't even get to talk to Chris from Grindhouse until his panel. Like, I didn't even see him until his panel, which, by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Fresh Monkey Fiction, Super 7, for their panels, I pretty much saved the day because I had to hook them up to the audio video in there and get them running. If it wasn't for me, there would have been no presentations. I will take that credit. Actually, yeah, at the beginning of the Fresh Monkey Fiction video, you can see me setting up the projector and everything. All right, moving along, I have some apologies to make, one of them directly as a result of the Super 7 panel. So I have been really kind of a jerk about AI. I've been jumping on some things that seemed to be AI to me. And one of them was the Cold Slither, which we have since learned is a for real band who will be for real playing live and have recorded an album. Now, whether or not we like the music does not matter. I was wrong completely about any of it being AI generated. So I am absolutely jumping the gun and being overly sensitive about the potential for AI garbage. The other instance, slop. Yes, you're right. That is the term. Well, no, it's not totally the term because slop isn't as directed. There's a difference between producing something with a specific intent, like an album, and in just throwing a song out there. Because look, AI, David Lynch, I think, said it best. AI is a tool. It's about how you use it. It's just like anything else. In the other instance that was addressed directly in the Super 7 panel, Brian Flynn was asked and answered. Somebody asked him about the six-fingered wild bill, and he said, "Yeah, I hate that, but what happened with that? They are using. You can see this whole thing in the panel. It's on the Needless Things channel. I recommend you go watch it. All of their art is still being done by humans, but they use, Photoshop or whatever program they use to position the elements on the card, to position the livery and everything else. And you can guess, just like everybody else in America, the artists, the people putting the artwork together are all overworked, are all rushed. As much as I like Super 7, I don't have any illusions about how overloaded people working for that company probably are, especially after all the cuts they made recently. And he said what happened is somebody set the graphic down, moved it, and didn't realize they had done a duplicate of it, and that's what created that sixth finger. Same thing with the Real American Hero going through one of the images. It was just of somebody not double checking their work, and things like that happen.
I like the idea of Wild Bill as a six-fingered mutant pilot.
I maybe there's a subplot with Inigo Montoya chasing him down to kill him.
So anyway, I just want to say I was wrong in both of those occasions. I don't believe I ever outright said this is for sure AI, but I believe I was pretty strongly this stinks of AI, and I need to calm down on that. I will say that right now. So I will be more cautious with my accusations going forward. So that is it for follow-up. Let's talk a little bit more about Joe Fest. So what were you guys doing? Just all the time in the dealer room?
I spent some time in the dealer room. I just spent some time in the room with my wife and, going out. And
I got the sense
and
that
sort of
you
thing.
were trying to have a little bit more of a vacation.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of it. Just trying to enjoy my time off of work for a couple of days.
Yeah, I was walking around just trying to talk to people, mainly like creators at their booths. I also didn't stay on property. I mean, my hotel was only like a 10-minute drive away.
Same here.
And I like that. But for whatever reason this year, like, I think I left to get food at one point, and I was like, yeah, I want to go back to the hotel and unload everything that I had gotten from the dealer's room, and I just relaxed for a bit before going back out. Because Friday night, when the dealer room shut down after they did the parachute drop, and it was hallway con, it was nice for a moment, and then there just wasn't enough room for the people, and I got very overwhelmed. So I kind of didn't want to go back Saturday night for that same thing.
that dealer or that lobby swap was kind of a disaster.
Well, it was such a cluster, and
in the worst part of the entire facility,
there just wasn't a lot of good stuff in there either.
Well, and that's like, I think that the lobby swaps have gotten to be such a big thing. And at one point in time, like, I used to go and I'd find like super deals because there'd just be people who were like, you know what, I don't want to pay for a booth.
Yeah.
So I'm unloading stuff at like a much lower price than the people who have booths were. I was getting, complete figures for half of what the booths would sell them for. So that sort of thing.
That one out on the patio a couple of years ago is the last time that it was like legit getting deals. Because they were in that one room and then it overflowed onto the patio.
Yep.
That's the last year I felt like I got deals. Now I feel like it's just dealer room prices, except nothing is priced.
Yeah.
So so like twice when we were walking up and down. Oh, go ahead.
So Joe Hunter 73 says Seth Green was getting some stuff in the lobby swap on Saturday. He was getting stuff in the lobby swap on Friday night as well, because I got to have a moment with him. Super nice guy, and the lady that he was with, and really respectful, I feel like, to everything that was going on.
I mean, he's one of us. He's a child actor, has enjoyed the success that he's had, but he's one of us. It was so chaotic in there. Twice on, I think it was Friday, Riley was like, "Oh, Kristian just walked by," and I didn't even see you at all. And either you didn't see us, or you're like, "I don't need that right now."
Nope.
It was just a lot. Saturday we left at like 8, and we're like, "Hey, are you tired?" I'm kind of tired. Let's just go back to the room. All right. So
I want to give a couple of other shout outs.
Oh yeah. Well, and also, did you get any juicy information from your conversations with the creators?
Not necessarily. Most of, like, when I talked to Fresh Monkey Fiction, there wasn't really anything that we didn't already know. I feel like I did with Brian Flynn. This ties into what I was saying to Brett White. But here on the podcast, we used to always say Super 7 would be the one to do Cold Slither, not Hasbro, and
Right.
Super 7 would knock it out of the park. So in my conversation with Brian, I asked him, so tell us, like, were you working on it and then Hasbro saw it and was like, oh, we want to do that? And he said yes. He said they have figures that were sculpted, that were meant to be part of Wave 1. And when Hasbro saw them, Hasbro was like, wait, there's a demand for these? Well, we think we want to do something. So let us put them out first, and then you can go after us. So I feel like a lot of movie stuff is probably sculpted and ready to go. Now we're just waiting on Hasbro to do their take on it. Also, finding out that they had an Ultimates Firefly sculpted and ready to go, and it was a contemplation, possibly putting him in an earlier way, but then like, nah, we need to save some heavy hitters,
right?
And then also it was always meant to be O-ring, by the way, and Hasbro told them no, only we do O-ring, which is funny since at the time Hasbro wasn't doing anything with O-ring. And so that's when, they were like, you have reaction, you can do that. And he said it was, through that relationship that they finally earned their trust to do the O-ring. By the fact that the Joe reactions have been like one of their most successful. So I thought all of that was interesting. Like, seriously, listeners, if you ever get a chance to talk to Brian Flynn, do it. Not just about Joe stuff. I mean, we talked kaiju monsters and 70s TV shows, and I mean, again, I had to condense it down because last year I feel like I got a good 45 minutes with him.
Yeah.
And this year it was like,
we need
20?
to get you a voice recorder. You need to be our man on the scene.
True.
Scott's got a thing about Brian as well.
Oh, yes. Okay, so he says, Brian told me Godzilla announcements are coming. Yes. So because I talked to him about with the tariffs.
And keep this a little brief just because it's so not G.I. Joe.
Yeah. But sort of G.I. Joe adjacent, just in that with the tariffs, with the layoffs at the company, how is this affecting some of the lines? Are things going to slow down? Are we going to see some lines ending? And he said that things were a bit chaotic as they were dealing with everything, but expect in August we should start seeing more announcements from lots of various lines. Also, he was really impressed that they managed to keep that wave a surprise, the G.I. Joe movie wave. But also, listeners, just in case, Nowhere Man Child has just jumped in with breaking news. Jim Shooter, former Marvel editor-in-chief, has passed away from esophageal cancer.
If you don't know, Jim Shooter was a big part of the G.I. Joe comics Marvel back in the day. And that's he had a great website for years and years where he would share industry stories. I cannot remember the name of it right now, but if you Google it, you'll find it. He was supposed to be a guest at Dragon Con. I was actually looking forward to potentially finally getting to meet him because he'd been at Heroes and Dragon a couple of times in the past, and I just never made it to him. That's a shame.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got to move on. We've got to wrap up Joe Fest. So we're going to make this quick, because we got to get to that Snowcat. Thrashers, Scavenger, Hunt. So we all participated in this at Joe Fest. There was not a winner, possibly partly because I just wasn't at the table as much as I really wanted to be for people to report back. But between the three of us, I think, well, I hit everything on the list. How did you guys do?
I only missed a couple of things.
So I'll start off, and I'm not going to zoom in. We're just going to kind of burn through these. Vintage 82 to 94 item. Finally got myself a Skyhawk. Got a nice little deal on it. I need to put a little something on, which I remember mine as a kid had this same problem, that these won't stay parallel. Like, so I need to put a little something on this to get these to sit like that. But otherwise, really nice shape. And it was cheap. I don't remember what it was. I think I got it from Destro's toy. No, I got it from Toy Department because it was in a big plastic bag. And I was like, I can trust this. So I got my Skyhawk. Did you guys get a 82 to 94 item?
Quite a few.
Well, let's just go with one for right now.
Yeah, I'll share like one of the least exciting ones right here. This is yet another, because anytime I can find a cheap Ram cycle, I'll pick one up. That's not
nice.
Looking great because it's in the bag there. I'll pull it out, but it's missing its saddlebags, but it does have the sidecar. It does have the kickstand. So you know what? Always welcome to, if I can find like hey, $5 for another Ram. Sure, I'll take it.
Kristian, what about you?
I got my Outpost Defender. It has the crate and all that. That's just still not unpacked. But I got this for about half the cost of what they've been going for on eBay. So I think that completes everything from the little diorama stuff from that year that I need.
Nice. I love that stuff. More about that later, huh?
Yep.
The next was a non-toy Joe item, and I got this little belt bag that's in pretty good shape. It's got little belt loops on the back. It's got a clip where you can hang it. Just nice little zipper pouch, just the right size for, you know what? It's probably just the right size for those new books coming from 3D Joe's, the field guides.
Because you're gonna look so cool with that Joe fanny pack.
I look cool no matter what. I make it work for me. But anyway, I just love stuff like this. I got this and another item that I'll talk about at a later date.
Mine, so it's not a toy and it's not an officially licensed item, but there was a seller who had stands for various Joe aircraft. They had one for the Sky Striker, I believe, the Rattler, the Night Raven, and I wound up picking up the one for the Night Raven because I built one of these. The Night Raven's too much for me to hang from the ceiling, I think.
Yeah.
So I have it on something that I've built out of Lego Technic, and it's it doesn't hold up very well. But this, like, I saw this in action, and it's a really, really good. And I can't remember the seller that he did not put it on the bag, but he had a lot of really great stuff. It's all 3D printed stuff, but like he demonstrated it, and a really, really nice piece.
Scale Model Joe's Thrasher Scavenger Hunt is an Audible Interlude invention. We did it not last year, but the year before, and then brought it back this year.
Oh, I thought we did it. We didn't do it last year?
No. I don't think we did. No.
Okay.
2023.
Yeah, I came up with it a little bit late. And this year we advertised it here in plenty of time. But next year, it is possible it could be an official Joe Fest activity. But does it really matter? We were supplying that prize box, which, by the way, is only going to be worth more next year for whoever wins it. Kristian, did you get a non-toy item?
I did, but it counts for another category as well.
Oh, come on.
I know.
Okay, nice.
But look at that cover.
He is terrified, as he should
is. So I picked up some issues of the Action Force comic at the show. And there's quite a few like that. I love the terror in a lot of the Joe's faces.
Well, as we talked about when I interviewed the guys behind the Action Force Treasury Editions, there is more of a horror element. Well, we did our review of them too, and we talked about it. There's a little bit more of an intensity to those.
Yes, but these are once they had the like Marvel stories,
right?
And had to do some massive editing to like change.
So
because they can't do G.I. Joe in it, so everywhere where it said Joe, it has to say Action Force. So that's made them fun reads. But yeah, they all also have like usually it's been like a 3 or 4 page extra story of original stuff, and those definitely are more. We're blowing up vehicles and trying to chainsaw through bazooka.
So next up, non-Joe item, and I'll be doing a review of these very soon. I got the Delta 17 2-pack, the Desert Troopers. Ken, of course, was a guest on our panel. You can get the audio of that wherever you get your podcast. It was last week's episode. Very excited to open these up and give them a review. I also got the Hailstorm droid. I'll be including that in the review when I get to that. Did you guys get any non-Joe items?
Yes. So usually I don't do the human characters with Mythic Legions, but the detail in this dude's armor and that shield and the Man-at-Arms face sculpt just, had to go home with him.
Nice.
I actually did not pick up any non-Joe items. Normally, I will I'll come home with like some Transformers or something along those lines. I guess you could say I bought a couple of sodas from the vendor outside. Those are like the only non-Joe items I bought around there. But yeah, I realized later I was like, I didn't buy any non-Joe items. Now I did acquire a non-Joe item. As I believe you also did as well.
Oh yes.
We've got, from Wreck Ship.
From Wreck Ship, we've got our bottles of what is it? I don't remember what it's called.
It is Anejo Interlude. Yes. Tiny little, bottle to fit with our classified
incredible
figures. Yes.
First piece of fan merch we've gotten.
That's right.
Aside from, no, I think it is. So we Beyond the 80s item was next up, and I've got a figure that ever since we did our America's Elite on Zap, I have been hungry for this figure.
Nice.
Finally got it, but once again, the folly of not having the field guide with me. He is missing one of his big bazooka weapons. So I just ordered that earlier on eBay, but the thing you have to be careful about is there are 2 different versions. One version has a silver, more metallic-looking set of weapons, which is the one I have, but the other one has more of a flat gray that matches this backpack. So I had to be careful looking on eBay that I got the silver metallic that matches what I got. But I did, so I've got that bazooka on the way.
So this is something that I've, for some reason, have never picked up, even though I've seen it a bunch of times. But I had to pick up one of these from Destro's Toy Den, which is the Mercury lander, or the. So, of course, as I've mentioned before, my intro into G.I. Joe was my uncle's, and I had, of course, the 12-inch pilot with the, the larger version of this. Still have it to this day. But you know what? I'm going to pop maybe like an Ace figure, or if I could find like a Countdown or somebody and put it in here and hang it up on the ceiling.
White Vegeta's got a...
Yes, I wanted to chime in with that. As one of the shout-outs I wanted to give, it was awesome meeting you. Thank you for some of the diorama advice you gave me. And look to my Instagram sometime this week, because I took a bunch of photos today, and you guys will be able to see the weapon crates that he made with.
And they are awesome, but they are not Audible Interlude branded, so I'm not going to consider those fan merch. Now, if you put an Audible Interlude logo on those things, now we're in business. But the crates are beautiful, as well as the vials of undetermined dangerous fluid that were in the ones I got last year.
So
all right.
my Beyond the 80s, I picked up
Nice.
the
From the bat set.
Yeah. Yep. He is complete. Like I said, I haven't really unpacked any accessories yet. But since he doesn't have, this one did not come with the sound thing that the original did. So he's going to fit in the Earthquake much
nice. Better. Now you just need some of those Inferno bats.
Oh.
That's what came with it. He came with 2 updated black and yellow bats and 2 Inferno bats, if I'm remembering correctly. I've got them. They're all boxed up back there. It was an awesome set. I wish I'd ordered like 10 of them. It was from like 2002 or 2005.
2003.
2003. Okay. All right. Next up, comic book. We've already seen Kristian's comic book. My comic book is from our pal, Reverend Scott Stripling Art. And this is an awesome comic. This is from 2014. And it's a great narrative about a kid playing with his G.I. Joes, and then things happen, and I won't spoil it beyond that, but it's really cool. This is, I think, the coolest comic I possibly could have gotten at Joe Fest. Love it. And I love the night car on his t-shirt on the front.
I did not acquire a comic, although I did find a Chick Tract shoved into one of the booths at the restaurant.
Well, that counts.
I thought about picking it up and taking it with me.
I've got to do some hand face stuff to get my focus back. Oh well, we'll just keep going. This is perfect opportunity because it is time to move on to the pictures that were part of the assignment. There were 3 picture assignments: a picture with a stranger in cosplay, a picture with a guest, and a picture with an AI pod host. So I got a picture with John Earl, who you may know from John Earl Art on Instagram. I finally got the print of the Holy Diver tribute with Serpentor and Cobra Commander. John is super nice guy. He was also at DFW this past weekend, goes around, I believe, to all the Geo-themed conventions. But really cool talking to him and getting that print. Did you guys get any pictures with guests?
No, that was the other thing that when I got back and I was looking through my photos, because I felt so rushed, I didn't take any selfies like I did last year. Yeah,
I didn't get pictures with Brian Flynn or Larry Hama, which granted I've already got pictures, well, with really everybody, but I just didn't. And I talked to him, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I need to be better about getting pictures.
I had 3 run-ins with Samantha over the weekend as we caught up, and never once did I be like, oh, hang on, let's get a photo.
This year was a little hectic.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Reverend Scott Stripling Art, his most recent comment, I'm pretty sure that the Star Brigade Duke will not fit in this shuttle.
That's probably accurate. Yeah. We all 3 got pictures with AI pod hosts, so good job for us. We made that one happen. And then I got a picture with a stranger in cosplay with this really nice, this is Slice, right? I still don't know my Slice and my dice. But I thought this was cool. The design work they did on the gi looks really cool. And then Kristian also got his stranger in cosplay photograph with Cobra Commander while he was wearing his Cobra intern shirt, appropriately kneeling in submission to his notably tiny master.
Yes.
that was a Cobra Commander Cito.
I did not get any pictures with anyone in cosplay. Of course, I also knew many of the people there in cosplay, so not many.
I think
strangers.
We can give you a break on that one. All right, we got to move on. That was a great little Joe Fest wrap up. It is just the best. I love being there every year. We will be back next year.
Which
Despite
is
the fact that I have no idea what my work or financial situation is going to be next year, I will be there.
And they've changed the week that they pushed it back 2 weeks from what it was initially announced. So it's going to be not competing with Heroes or
Father's
DFW
Day.
or Father's Day.
Or Father's Day.
And for the folks in the chat that have mentioned that they were at DFW, I'm saving your comments just because we have such a full show. We will touch on them
someday.
soon.
All right, got to move on to the actual for real news, and we're going to move through some of this stuff faster than I want to because I know people are here to talk about the Snowcat. Just real quick, tomorrow the mask stuff goes up for pre-order at bigbadtoystore.com. The prices have changed. This is the exclusive mobile defense unit, and the details on this are that it has a different magenta paint job with retro style striping on it, which looks the same as the regular one to me. The big noticeable thing is that this one, the metal parts are vac metal, and it includes T-Bob and Scott. It's $175. The regular version is $125. So I was saying, and it looks like this is also a pre-order. I was saying if this one's in stock, I'll pay the extra for it, but it does not appear that will be the case. So we'll see what happens. Scale Model Joe's next year's Joe Fest dates are June 26th through the 28th. So here are the shots of the exclusive version of the Rhino. As you can see, it's a shinier metal than was on the other pictures, which I could not find. I know they shared pictures of the other, and granted, these are just renders. But, I mean, it just looks beautiful. Well, except for that. I don't need those two.
I always love T-Bob's design, but Scott Tracker can go take a hike.
Let's see. Next up, we have I actually had a conversation with Tim from Giant Leap a couple of months ago about this project. I'm very excited. It is very, very 90s G.I. Joe. It's all bright colors. It is a post-apocalyptic design. Everybody go check out Giant Leap Toys on Instagram. Get all the details that are available right now about this one. The Kickstarter will be launching in late September. I'm excited about these. This is something very different from the other O-rings that are out there. And as you can see, this is just for the figure designs. He's got a lot of cool stuff in the works. And like I said, these look very different. So I'm definitely interested in this project, and we'll be following along as we go. And we'll have Giant Leap back on the show at some point in the future to talk about this in more detail. But for right now, it is nukes. Fresh Monkey Fiction had a ton of stuff at Joe Fest. You can watch the entire panel live. The pictures are what they are in the video, but fortunately, Big Bad Workshop and Fresh Monkey Fiction released nice images all over their social media, which you can go check out. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about them. But first up, we have Combat Trooper. I love the look of this thing. I don't know that I'm going to pay Fresh Monkey Fiction prices for it, but I love the red collar on it. Very, very comic looking. I love the different portraits. Like, everything about this is very cool. Do we prefer this to the classified grunt? We need audio, Kristian. Can't do a head shake.
I know. It's because the thoughts are moving too quickly in my head.
And keep in mind, it is a render, so you know what it's going to look
right.
Like, think of this if it was a Monster Force figure.
I love the simplicity of it, right? Like, I love that he doesn't have the big, bulky vest that Grunt has. There's something about the green that... And granted, yes.
I like
this is a render.
I also like the William Shatner portrait.
It just, to me, it looks like kind of like a mint green. I don't know. I'm wanting.
Mint.
Yeah, I'm just. I don't know. It's like flat. I'm. My brain right now cannot put it into words. I just don't find it appealing. Now, once we see the actual prototype, my opinion will probably change. But yeah,
What's interesting is it looks like those helmet heads. And I can't remember if this was addressed in the panel or not, but they might be molded on, because why would it come with two helmets?
Right.
Yeah.
So that I like that, because then the helmets are not going to be big and bulky. All right. Wave 2, the Agent. I believe we've seen this one before, but just a cool looking figure. I like the green on the glasses. Always nice to get more gingers in a line. And suit body. We're going to see lots of suit bodies. Gear packs with all kinds of stuff to supplement your troops. Tactical vests, hats, berets, binoculars, all that kind of good stuff. Head packs, which I'm very excited about, because look at that top row of straight up old school G.I. Joe heads. I hope they're flocked. That would be amazing. And then clearly we've also got a sort of bandaged up injured commando head, I guess.
Oh, I was thinking, what is the old DC character?
Negative.
Unknown? No, not Negative Man. They had a war hero. I think Unknown Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Maybe. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Then we've got more of the Soldiers of Fortune. We've got a blue camo operative and a desert camo operative. Both look really cool. They're going to be giving the generic modern military lines a run for their money, because we already know the quality of Fresh Monkey Fiction's 1/12 scale figures. Chatsworth finally on the way. Pre-order goes up July the 18th on Big Bad Toy Store. This is a must-have for me.
Yep. I mean, we've been seeing him. We saw the prototype at Joe Fest 2 years ago. I want to say my first Joe Fest. They had the not painted prototype there, and I've just anxiously been awaiting for this. So I am so glad that he's finally here. He looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I want from Operation Monster Force. Big old Sasquatch with a big old blaster and donuts.
Of course.
And then finally, some females in the line. This Red Riding Hood looks amazing. I cannot wait to see. I'm assuming that's a soft goods cape. Again, I think Bill mentioned it during the panel, but that was like almost 2 weeks ago. I don't remember anything. But fortunately, it's right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. You can go watch it. But this figure looks awesome. The very Blood Rain vibe to her. But I like that they're incorporating this kind of thing into Operation Monster Force. And my suggestion, I'm gonna say right now, I told Bill, I said, look, let me tell you, Rapunzel with articulated ponytails that she fights with, put wire armatures in them.
Should do that with the Bianca Belair figure.
Well, they did one. It's not articulated, but it does have like a big giant ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
Order of St. Joan of Arc. So this is actually a troop builder nun warrior. Warrior nun. What a novel concept. And then Agent Harker. This is just a grayscale render, but again, looks great. I mean, you know, we've got product in hand. We know these are fantastic. I've said before, whatever happens, I will continue collecting Operation Monster Force. All right, let's see. We're going to keep on going. And I absolutely hate it when hosts do the hurry up thing. But I know what everybody's here for. And we will be covering all of this stuff in plenty of detail in the coming year as more and more stuff comes out about it. So this is all just initial looks. Miranda Seek, another grayscale render using the female Rocketeer legs. Oh, they announced a Betty Page Rocketeer. I can't remember if she's in the notes here or not. but good parts reusage. Get another character out of those legs. Then we got some packaging art for the Order of the Crimson Moon, which is coming out later this year. Very excited about that. Very Mike Mignola looking, although the art is by Dana Black. And this one, did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Oh, Inspector Bulletproof licensed Cops and Crooks 1/12 scale figure. I've already pre-ordered it. This is a must-have for me. I'm so excited for this line. I love the original Cops and Crooks line, but it bothered me so much that it was not scaled with anything else.
When they showed the render for this at the end of their panel last year, I was so stoked. But then having not heard anything, it died down. And then he wasn't in their display case until later.
Until after the panel, right?
Yeah. And so when I saw it in person, I was like, oh yeah, when's the pre-order go up? Because I needs it.
Yeah, it's so good. We've got some Eagle Force stuff, and this is 1/12 scale Eagle Force. Captain Eagle, Eagle Force Trooper, which I think it's smart to kick off with a troop builder. General Mamba, and the Mamba Man, another troop builder. So just some grayscale renders of those. Again, you can see these on Fresh Monkey Fiction and Big Bad Workshop social media. Go check them out. Very excited about the continued expansion of their properties. Just great stuff. And then World of Eagle Force Wave 3. These are 1/18 scale, but I included this because I particularly love the Goldie Hawks that seem to be modeled after another thing that we may have talked about recently. If you remember Kristian's last, was that your last Let's Freaking Go ring?
Yeah.
Yeah. So very cool there. Moving on to Super 7. Unfortunately, I had to just screen grab this from some bum's video on YouTube, on the Needless Things YouTube channel. San Diego Comic-Con Reaction Plus exclusives are the bat strapped with the explosives from the comic book, and then a Deke Serpentor. Very cool that they're dipping back. I was afraid they wouldn't mess with Deke anymore after that line of Ultimates didn't go through. So I'm glad to see. Well, they did the reaction figures, but I almost wonder if those were already. Well, they had to be because they came out shortly after that pre-order was announced. So those were already done.
One of the other things he said that they are the stuff they're working on right now is like middle of 2027. So,
right,
like thankfully. There's an appreciation of Deke there.
So those will be San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, as well as the likely deluge of other Joe merchandise that they've been doing for the last few years.
And they're mixing up with the packaging a little bit here, too, like they did with some of the regular reaction Joes.
Yeah, the bat blister is actually in the shape like it exploded. You can't tell in this picture at all, but yeah, it is something different. So excited about that. Let's see. Oh, and the next wave of Reaction Plus should hit in October. And then finally from Super 7, Python Patrol Cobra Commander will be going up for pre-order or maybe order. Eventually you were generally able to get the Target exclusive stuff from Super 7. But it's just frustrating because the communication is not very good. Any day now, this will be going up for whatever level of availability it has. So it is now time for your main event. So, of course, first thing this morning, I got this email. This is an expiration notice from Hasbro Pulse. Hey, David, your Hasbro Pulse Premium membership has expired. To keep your access to epic perks like DHL shipping, you'll for the next 12 months, you'll need to renew your Hasbro Pulse Premium membership. So at this point, I had a decision to make. And I decided, well, I don't want to pay for shipping for the Haslab that I am like 95% positive I'm going to order. So I went ahead and renewed my Pulse Premium. And then I remembered, wait a minute, they don't charge for shipping if the purchase is over $75. Are Haslabs included in that? I don't know. But what I do know, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. So here it is. The Snowcat. Long talked about. Very, very excited about this one because I guess I can say it now. Because as I've mentioned, I think now they know. I have the sense they know who I am, and I'm never going to be invited back to one of those little round table type things. So I'll go ahead and tell you, I was on the first one of those, and they showed an image of the Snowcat. So they've been thinking about this for a long time, and it was one of the most exciting ones that I saw. I love this vehicle. I think it's a unique, iconic Joe vehicle. As badly as I want a tank, I cannot dispute that this is a good choice because of how unique this form factor is to Joe. And we've talked about it for months now, for years now, probably. We knew the classified version was going to be, as our hero Lenny says, zhuzhed up. And boy, is it. Okay. Kevin, throw Kevin Riddle's comment up there because this is important to me. Kevin Riddle says, Haslabs are not included. So there you go. Now, granted, the shipping would not have been $50 for the Haslab, but as we all know, I play pre-order roulette. And it's very convenient to know I've got that free shipping. I wouldn't do that with Pulse because sometimes you just know you can get stuff from Pulse. And also stuff like the Snake, stuff like the Claw. Like they've been doing more Pulse exclusives over the last year. And I want to know I get the free shipping on those and potentially the early access. So it's worth it. I mean, it's $50. Whatever. Oh, Tom Henry in the super chat.
Snowcat too big. Need fangs. That Snowcat has fangs, my friend.
Oh man!
You see the new logo?
So thank you so much, Tom Henry, for your contributions. We truly appreciate it. And just so everybody knows, anything that comes in via the super chat, all goes into production of the show, into hosting, into expenses, into merch, whatever. It all goes back into the show because we want to present the absolute best program we possibly can to you. So we appreciate everything that rolls in through the super chat or any other means. All right. I'm gonna take it. Throw Decadent Dave's newest comment up there. I'm gonna take issue with that. They are not making a Fang. They're making a pretty neat looking helicopter, not making a Fang. All right. So, what was Kristian? We'll start with you. What was your reaction at the first image you saw of this?
So, honest to God, my first reaction was squat. It looks deceptively compact.
Right?
Yep. Even with the figure standing next to it, I was like, this doesn't look like it's quite as big as I expected it to be. Until later.
Yeah.
In that video.
Yeah. I love Arctic figures. I love, like, this blew me away. It looks different than what I was expecting, but not in a bad way. Like, if you are gonna modernize it, like, for example, the ski torpedoes, not,
I think you
not
mean
being
ski-pedos.
Snow-pedos.
Right, snow-pedos.
Well, there was some debate. Let's hear in the chat, are they ski-pedos or snow-pedos?
But, not having them right there on the outside like the original, because that's what I always thought it would be, and
Right.
having them in those flip outs, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Because
Yeah.
if you are using this, like
Oh, Scale Model Joe's wins.
well, wait. The chat keeps moving too fast. Okay. Torskidos.
Torskidos is the winner. We're done here.
Yeah. Man.
Well, I really like the way that they did the Torskidos, which, by the way, that's official Audible Interlude terminology as far as I'm concerned. I love that they have the crates up on the side that look very much like just part of the vehicle, but then when you pull them off, you have these really slick looking panels there. It looks great both ways.
And I love that it seems like no part is wasted. And what I mean by that is, again, with the Torskidos.
Oh my gosh, Kristian, you made that up.
Oh, Scale Model Joe says Torskidos is something Kristian came up with in episode 5, March 2021. Thank you, Audible Interlude Wiki.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, Scale Model Joe's is developing an Audible Interlude Wiki for us. It's quite in progress now. If you are in the Audible Army Facebook group, you can have access to the beta version of this Audible Interlude Wiki, and it's a lot of fun because it goes back through all 5 years of the show, and it's everything we've talked about. I've sent all my show notes, everything, and things like that, little pieces of trivia like that we don't even remember.
But I love that you can take the snowboard off of them, and it had pegs for figures.
Yes,
like it just makes sense.
Yeah, they really exceeded my expectations on this, just with the creativity and just the intuitive way they incorporated everything, but still made it like different and unique.
All
right, throw it back up there.
Okay, looks like it was Noel who came up.
Noel coined Torskidos. We're gonna have to put that on a shirt. So one thing, when they pulled the missile launcher off and revealed the troop carrier section, which is wonderful, and one of the things that we had talked about in if they were going to upscale this and add value and give it more of a profile, is one of the things they could have done. When they pulled that missile launcher off, the first thing I thought is, I hope the bottom is flat so it can be a standalone unit. And it didn't look like it was, but as they pointed out several times during the video, this is not a finished product. They're still working on details. They're still ironing things out. I think he even mentioned there was going to be a peg underneath to keep it attached.
Right. They were trying to figure out the best way to attach it. I'm hoping that they see all the feedback that I've seen already on social media and in their chat that mentioned being able to have it as a standalone.
Oh, that people are talking about it? That's good. I would love it if they could maybe even have some legs that fold up underneath it or something, but I get it. It'll be cool enough if just that flat bottom piece can just sit. That's enough. That's fine.
Wreckship says, some days you just can't get rid of a Torskido.
So let's talk about the fact that they threw in everything, including the kitchen sink. This is nuts, and I love it. It is a sink with water and ice sculpted into it, or as a separate piece that sits in. And I don't know if it'll be detachable, but it is a translucent piece that sits in there. 2 cup holders, 2 skewer holders, and a little stove unit that interacts. What was that, Noel?
It's a hot plate.
This is nuts. It's crazy.
And at first, I was like, why?
And then you got to the unlocks, and you were like, "That's
before-
why."
But even before the unlocks, my brain remembered and I'm sure it was before the 50th anniversary version of Blizzard as well. But the 50th anniversary Blizzard came with camping supplies. He had
Yeah, that's right.
all the, his skis, you could put them together to make a little tent, and then
Yeah.
he had everything he needed to stay warm and eat. And so my mind went, oh, this is how they are kind of homaging that.
Well, and
But
also,
little did we know.
Not just that, but also
Toy
toy photography, as was mentioned. So I think they now have a contract where they have to mention toy photography at least 4 times.
There's a
during
producer
every
who's sitting in
panel.
the back taking a shot every time they say it.
Yeah,
But
they've got
Lenny-
a producer in their earbuds saying, "Toy photography, say toy photography, damn it!"
Lenny is the only one who mentioned their 2025-2026 company agenda, World of Play. Or maybe agenda isn't the right word. The initiative. He was the only one that used the phrase World of Play.
Oh, interesting. I
So-
didn't catch that. My attention. I was at work, so my attention was divided. There were a couple of things that I missed in here. All right, where were we? We were talking about this little pull-out section. It's crazy. I love the detail of the engines, and I also like Lenny's honesty in saying, "I don't know anything about engines, but this looks cool," and I'm okay with that.
Like 9 liters, is that big?
Right. I don't know. I have no idea. Get the detail on the inside. You can see where the included wrench will be stored, and then on the other side, you've got a pry bar or a tire iron or whatever. I don't know what these things are. So I do want to talk about this. Noel, you know my rules about any kind of weathering, and this is literally weathering. So on the original Snowcat, there is frost sculpted into the windscreen, which, by the way, I have not thought about this until just now. The Tiger Cat has that same frost sculpted onto it, which doesn't make any sense.
Neither does Frostbite's outfit in that figure either, because he's still wearing his full winter gear.
Yeah, but Tiger Force is kind of loony anyway. I can go with that part of it. So what do you think of the decals being included to represent the frost, or should it have been sculpted in like the original? You know where I stand on it.
I'm not putting decals on my vehicles. It's never going to happen with the Haslab. Once I saw this, I was like, oh, well, I'll kind of miss the frost, but honestly, I think it's better without it in this instance, just because of the detail on this thing.
Yeah, I don't think that the frost effect ever really looked good on the original.
I always liked it.
It's probably my only complaint with that vehicle.
Interesting.
As an adult. So when I saw this, I will be tempted, in all honesty, to put those decals on, as long as the decals are the same type of clear that Toy Hacks uses.
I will expect them to look much better than what we're looking at in this render.
You probably aren't, but maybe.
You don't think they'll look better than this? I mean, this is a render. I think they'll look a lot better than this.
When you say better, like, to me, the only thing that I see is the edge that goes around, where the windshield wiper goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, how the original was as well.
I mean, the actual print will look more realistic than what we're looking at now. This does not look like actual frost.
And that's where I'm saying, like, once we actually see it, like as long as they use the right translucent type of sticker so that all you're seeing once you put it on there is just the snow and none of that haze and like gray, then it'll go on there.
I think in my ideal world, they would have just included an alternate windscreen.
No, alternate canopy like they did with the Hiss.
Yeah.
They did a whole other... I will agree with you on that, because I'll tell you right now, there's no way I'm putting those decals on, because I'm just imagining sitting there trying to line it up, and then you like sneeze, or because we're all old and our bodies are failing, you have an involuntary twitch, and it's on, and it's crooked, and you're done with your $325 toy.
Or you think you've got it on, and then you realize the bubble's on there, and you're like, no!
Yeah, there's no way I'm putting those on there. No way.
I don't even put the protective covers on my phone. I get my wife to do that for me because she's got steadier hands than me.
So there is our Torskito. Nice and bright yellow. I appreciate that they didn't tone those down any. Those and the missiles all look good. Let's go back to this picture, because this is the picture that won me over. It's the one I used in the thumbnail for this episode. I love the articulated rear treads.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That is beautiful. And did you see how good? And keep in mind, this is their like model. This is not a production model. But when they rolled it, how good it looked. The tread motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, this is when they showed that aspect. I was like, I don't want this to just sit on a shelf.
Right.
Right.
Well, this is the kind of feature they throw in because toy photography. But also just fun. Functionality.
Yorktown Joe says they are going to send Lenny to Dave's house to take a can of keyboard cleaner compressed air upside down to make actual frost on his Snowcat windshield.
You just stay away from my Snowcat windshield. I want it nice and clean, unburdened by any kind of environmental effects. All right. Oh, I'm going to be so mad if we do get... Go ahead.
Rekship says, now just imagine this Snowcat going up against the upcoming polar bear figure in photos. And I kept thinking about that polar bear during this entire live stream. Like, I want it sooner rather than later now. I cannot wait.
Well, I'm after what, and I didn't catch this, Kristian, I think you pointed it out, the little tease at the very end of the video. Now I'm just excited about what a white Arctic Hiss tank might look like. And hopefully, like they did with whatever version it was when it came out, they gave it a different loadout in the turret. Would love to see that. Okay, so we got to talk about our... Well, wait, we're going to go back to Frostbite. And he looks great. He looks like Frostbite. He looks better than Frostbite, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I like the darker fur lining.
Yeah,
it just pops so much more than the original figure.
Mm-hmm. At first, I was like, "Why is his hat so brown?" But the more I kept looking at it, I was like, "Oh, it totally breaks up all the white." And
I love the fact they gave him the original smiley face, like the figure has.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. He's got his thermos with the removable cup on top. He has a similar blaster, very similar to his original one, which actually I'll mention real quick. So I got a Snowcat at Joe Fest that I'll be talking a little bit more about. I already had Frostbite, and I got the Tiger Cat with Frostbite, but did not have his blaster last year. So I ordered 2 Frostbite blasters as soon as I got home, and I believe I happened to have gotten the Tiger Force version and the original version, because if you look, and this is not necessarily the most reliable guide, but if you look at Yojo, The Tiger Force version is glossier, and the original version is a little more flat plastic, or vice versa. I can't remember which it is, but I have one that's glossy and one that's more flat. So I think I just happened to, I mean, they're the same thing and it doesn't matter, but I might have just ended up with the correct ones.
And they're almost the same size as what this classified gun is going to be.
So Frostbite looks absolutely great. Very excited about this. And another good reason for him to have this darker brown is it makes our other Arctic figures line up a little better. Because rather than just go with the white gear that I think when we talk in the past months, when we've speculated about the Snowcat, when we've been talking about Arctic Joes, I've been picturing white gear, even though that's not what they look like in the cartoon necessarily.
See, this is what I was thinking of, because I was picturing
like
the opening of G.I. Joe the movie and thinking about the characters the way they looked in there.
So this Lady J, first of all, the portrait is, and I don't mind the portrait on the originals, but this looks incredible. The hair looks amazing. I'll tell you though, the one thing that I don't love is when the pants gather in like that at the knees. Like, what kind of pants are those supposed to be?
I think we've talked about this before. We see that sometimes in the renders, but it doesn't always come out looking that way on the figures.
I mean, that's what the original Lady J looks like, and I hope they don't.
I think we've seen enough of Lady J's personality in Sunbow and Deke to know she's not wearing loose-fitting clothes.
Well, they
doesn't matter what environment.
One of the older Lady J figures gave her baggier pants, and I prefer that look to this. Is just it just looks weird to me.
Tom Henry says it's called style, Dave.
That's fair enough. Well, Tom Henry, I want to see you wearing pants like that next time we run into you. Find some pants that hang like that. But otherwise, this figure looks great. And again, it's a toy. It's not a real human. Proportions and everything else, do not need to be realistic. I love all the accessories that they've given her. She's got the cup of coffee with J written on the side, which I think is kind of funny. Quiver looks great. This is great. And look, whether people like it or not, Lady J needed an update.
That's why I feel like people are being too harsh on it, because Retro Lady J really wasn't that much of a variation from the first release.
And the first release warmed pegs for 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like this head sculpt is what we wanted for Lady J since the line began. Like, this is how I always picture her looking. Although I like the baseball hat look as well.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I always like the Sunbow look personally without the cap. But I really like this with that jacket.
Rachel Salinas is asking, does the Snowcat have cup holders?
So
it did.
It has them in the kitchen pull-out, but now I'm wondering if there's some in the cab, because I feel like there should be, but I don't know if we got a good...
There was one... There was something... I don't know if they showed anything in the actual still images, but in the video they showed...
they showed the panel.
Yeah,
clips of the panel. Do I not have an interior of the...
I don't think
they showed any still shots of it. It was just in that promotional video with Cobra Commander.
No, because they had it... Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. It might not be on the website. You're right. In the video, they showed... Because it was everything was lit up.
Right.
Huh, interesting. So I would like for it to have cup holders in the cab as well, but I don't know. We'll see. But it does have them in the kitchen unit, which is a wild thing that I never imagined we'd be saying about the Snowcat.
Snowcat's kitchen.
So I am... Look, is this necessarily what I would have chosen? Probably not. But do I like it? Yep. Next up, though, none of us called this one, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. It might
This
be
blew
my
my
favorite
mind.
stretch goal ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've talked about these.
Yeah,
I don't think
of
any of us
course.
have ever crossed our mind that they could be a stretch goal. Because you think like, yeah, this is probably a little bit too much for a stretch goal. But I mean, there's not that much plastic in this, but
No.
because of the way it's constructed, it's enormous.
Yorktown Joe said this earlier, and I was like, I gotta save this. He said $325 for a soft goods bivouac is a bit steep, but they are throwing in the stretch goals of a Snowcat, Frostbite, Flint, and Lady J. So maybe, dude, I am so right there with you. Like when they showed me this,
This blew me away.
it was, oh, I have to back it.
And
Even
what's
if
funny,
I don't like the Snowcat and I want to, I was going to sell it off. Like this is a must have.
and what's funny though is in all the customization I've seen, and I'm sure it has been done, I just haven't seen it. I've never seen anybody environmentally customize a bivouac. It's such an easy thing, but I just haven't seen it done. So we're going to see this again.
Desert
That's what I was
versions.
thinking. Like even if they don't ever release a quote unquote standard, a retro release bivouac, because it's soft goods, you can easily take that off and then throw, camo over it or python skin or
Oh yeah, right.
whatever.
Tiger Force.
Yeah, tiger fur.
Oh yeah, but if they do Tiger Force, I want that big Tiger Force logo right on the top of it. It comes with all the stuff that the original came with, an upgraded version of the rocket launcher. This is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
And finally, final stretch goal. This unlocks at 14th. Oh, so we didn't go through the amounts. Lady J is 10,000, which is very low. Well, 8,000 is the goal for this. And as we talk right now, it is currently at 4,867 backers, well over halfway to the minimum tier, the funding goal of 8,000. Lady J unlocks at 10,000. The bivouac unlocks at 12,000. And then our final stretch goal, Flint, Arctic Flint, unlocks at 14,000. And again, I wouldn't have picked this, but he's great. His camo looks great. The coat is good. But my gosh, the stuff he comes with, the coffee pot, the frying pan with the eggs in it, the sausages, this is ridiculous, and I love it. And I get it. People are going to hate on this, but
this is great.
I think in years past I have mentioned that I had a World War II Army cot that I used whenever I would go camping. Whenever I would come home to visit, that's what I would sleep on, and it had one of those coffee pots. I can't drink coffee, so I never used it, but it just sat on a shelf in my room. So seeing that made me all kinds of stupid giddy as well.
Well, and I love the fact that so you've got this coffee pot that now can sit on that hot plate in the kitchen. He can hold the frying pan over the fire in the bivouac. The way they've told all these stories with this is great. I mean, like you could just buy this one Haslab and just have like a whole setup.
Yeah, like when I was thinking with the others, like with my Hiss tank, okay, so it's on the shelf above, but like you stack some Cobra Troopers on it. It's a tank with some figures on it. Same thing with the Dragonfly. Really, it's like, well, I can have my figure standing outside of it, but that Snowcat, it's not just going to sit on the shelf. Like I can have a whole diorama built just around that. And
real quick, I want to address a couple of things. The comments are flying by.
Yes.
Somebody asked, is the fire removable? Yes, it is. The fire comes off of the fire pit part. It's very similar to the fire pit that NECA put out.
I kind of wish that they had a little tiny, little pin light battery in there that you could turn it on, be an LED.
That's what NECA did with the Spirit of Splinter. NECA has actually released a couple of different, very, very similar fire setups. I got to imagine they were inspired by those. And then Rachel said something about a jungle camo bivouac. And I mean, I see that bivouac coming with like a deluxe figure or something.
Jungle bivouac with ambush or Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's
absolutely.
a no-brainer.
And then you mentioned...
There was one from Wreckship I want to pull up as well, where he said, I see it as $100 bivouac with JUN Flint and a $225 Snowcat with Frostbite.
There you go.
That's also where my mind was going, mainly because the grid iron version of the bivouac is $100. So if you look at those figures, let's say that they're still at the regular price, right? At the $25 price point that we are now.
But I will point out they're exclusive, and in general, exclusives are priced a little higher. So it wouldn't be out of line to say the figures could be priced at $30.
Right. Well, I mean, after August, they're all gonna be. But
good point. Good point.
But like the cost for the Snowcat, because I've no doubt we're gonna hit all these unlocks. We have to. I mean, I'll go door to door like it's an election year or something. Like, but
canvas for that.
I will. I'll be like, I'm coming to speak to you about our Lord and Savior, the Snowcat.
Well, and I mentioned I was actually kind of surprised that they put the bivouac as the middle unlock, because I think that's the real prize. Flint, I think, is a big sell just because he comes with these accessories. But like, honestly, I would have put the bivouac third, because I think it's going to better guarantee you're going to get to 14,000.
But I always wonder how much motivation are the unlocks? Like, how much is anybody saying? I don't know. I just don't know that I buy the metrics of the unlocks. I feel like people want this or they don't.
I think they add to a level of excitement about it, though, because
there is.
The bivouac was the difference of me waiting until the last minute, like I did with the Hiss Tank and the Dragonfly. Although Dragonfly, I tried to time it because I wanted to be the reason we unlocked Glinda, but the bivouac was why today I backed it. Like, I want this to happen.
So Flint, for what he is, I don't think could have been a better offering.
No, and we didn't talk about it yet, but like you had mentioned when we were chatting about this earlier, it's not explicitly stated, but it looks like the bivouac can be disassembled and placed inside of.
Well, no, it is. It's in the verbiage of the actual when you go to the page.
Okay.
Yeah, it is stated the bivouac collapses.
You to read all that?
Stores in the right. Stores in the back of the Snowcat. That's what the lockers and everything are for.
Okay.
So it does store back there. But as I've said many times before, any kind of crowdfunding, the base, I have to see the value in the base item. And the unlocks are exactly that. They're stretch goals, whether it's a Kickstarter, whether it's a Haslab, whatever. I'm buying the base item. Everything else is extras because factually that's what it is.
Well, they did have to add a few perks in to get the Sky Striker across the finish line. So I think they do sometimes help a little bit.
Oh, I'm not saying anybody. Well, okay, but even with that, we just don't know the metrics of it. But for me personally, I'm buying the item. And I think if you don't feel that the item alone is worth it, I just see so much entitlement. There's a few things that make me more annoyed than entitlement.
Right, 325 should get you the base item, and you should be like, if you're not happy with that, you probably shouldn't be backing it. But I mean, yeah, this I think is worth, is $325 for that Snowcat. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. These are all just gravy, but I do definitely want them all.
And I also think people get hung up on their own ideas of what should be or what they owe us way too much.
Well, and we've talked about it many times that you're not getting an iceberg as your unlock. That's a mainline release. Like but knowing how as a company, Hasbro has been doing their Haslabs, where when that Haslab is coming out, they're gearing that line to kind of fit, right? Like, think about the Mos Eisley Cantina and all of the Cantina aliens that they have put up for pre-order in the regular line. Like, seeing the Snowcat, okay, well, now I know before 2026 is over, we're getting some of these other characters that people are saying that they want, because they're not just going to give us this. We got, what was it, Airborne, and then we got the Dragonfly. Like,
well, and the bottom line is, no matter what Hasbro does, people are going to complain. I mean, that's a fact. It's for 5 years now, we have watched product after product be revealed, and none of them have come free of customer complaints, supposed fan complaints.
And for the people that don't like the unlocks, you are totally within your right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all
like,
a matter
I'm
of
not
taste.
going to tell you that you are wrong.
As I said,
not like them.
These Flint and Lady J are not characters I would have picked to go with this. We talked about it many times before. My picks were Night Force, Iceberg, and Blizzard, because the Arctic has night also. So why not?
You know what? Jumping back to Joe Fest real quick, only because you mentioned Blizzard. What is the reasoning for the sudden jump in price on him? Like, last year,
oh, is there?
I almost bought him because of the running gag we used to have about his helmet.
Right.
And I ended up not getting him, so he was on my list for this year. And the cheapest I saw him was $20.
Oh, interesting. Well, I've got 2 Blizzards, and I don't even have one on display because I don't like him.
Yeah, I was like, what happened?
Ship's got a good point here.
He says, are the unlocks my favorite? No, not really. But are they better than patches? Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So this is interesting. So we've got, what we're showing on the screen right now is a size comparison, and I love that they did this at all. But you guys, I'll tell you, I know from past videos the general size of Lenny and Emily. And as soon as I saw the Snowcat, I sent you guys a message, I think, saying this thing is freaking huge. I didn't need this picture to understand how big it was, but I think it's really cool that they pulled these out to show that direct comparison.
Yeah, well, like, when I saw the initial pictures with the figure, and it didn't look that big, and then when they had it in front of them, I was like, okay, it's a little bigger than I thought it was. And then this was like mind-blowing, because the Hiss is already a very large vehicle.
Yeah.
When they put it next to it, and the Hiss is dwarfed. Like, when you're showing like the front views of both of them, it's like 2 inches wider.
All right, we're not going to tolerate any kind of intolerance or shaming here. If you bring it in here, you're gone. You get one warning, and that's it. So I don't want to hear anything else like that. Everybody understand? Good.
When he mentioned that they had to make it big because it's a 2-seater, at the time it didn't click. When they put the Stinger out, I was like, wait a minute, the Vamp and the Stinger are also 2-seaters, and it's wider than both of those.
Yeah, this thing is, it's beautiful. It is beyond, because again, we've been talking about the Snowcat for months, years, and it's beyond what I expected them to do. I feel like they just nailed it, because we had talked about, when we talked about a troop compartment, in my head I was picturing it much boxier than this, and it might be enclosed, and you would have lost some of the look of the Snowcat if they had done it that way.
Yeah. As I know that was something that people were complaining about, was that if you have a troop carrier, you can't use it with the rocket launchers, but
Right.
it's fine. I mean, you can buy two, make one your troop carrier, make one your active battle vehicle.
Jason's Electric chimed in with, I liked Lenny's rings. Those are sweet. It's the first time I had noticed them, because how they kept commenting that this is the model, right? It's not finished. It's super fragile. And he kept commenting about, I got to be careful so I don't break it. And that skull ring was like sticking out a good inch and a half. And I was like, buddy, maybe take that stuff off, because you're making me nervous.
Let's see. I think that's the last slide we've got for the Snowcat. Any? I mean, I've already backed it. I'm in just for one. It'd be preposterous to order two. I've got two Ecto ones coming, and I don't know where those are going. Let alone that. Well, I'll just say this real quick. My wrestling figure collection going in totes. They got to come down. There are just too many other awesome things to put in that space.
Yeah, I have no idea where this thing is going to go, and I've said that about everything else. Well, this one will be easier to display than the Rattler, just because this will fit on a shelf, I believe.
Well, it's less overall space.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. Like, it's cool that they designed the Rattler to have the wings fold up, but I don't want to display it like that.
You get those things to hang it on the wall flat, like I've seen people do with model airplanes, and then I know they make them for some of the Star Wars vehicles.
So we are unfortunately going to have to save sound off for. We may do it on the segments next week. We may do it on the next live stream and just double up. But there's just too much. There was too much to cover. But we will. Let's see here. Hang on. What we will do is hit Joe and Tell, since so many of them are Joe Fest relevant. I don't want to get too far removed from Joe Fest and still be talking about Joe Fest. Do you guys have your Joe and Tells?
Yes.
All right. Well, Kristian,
so mine is
going to put you up first.
Yep, mine is a Tell. So when I was reading the Action Forces, their audience was kids. Like, they have pages in there where the kids send in drawings. And anyway, in the letters page, I just loved this. Dear Action Force, I read Transformers, Secret Wars, and Star Wars, but Action Force is the best. I think you show too much of Flint. Let's see more Cobra Commander and less of Flint. I'm right there with you, buddy.
That is awesome.
Yep.
All right. Noel, what is your Joe and Tell?
Well, that was a good segue, because you mentioned a little thing called Action Force.
Oh.
One of the things I was most excited about, and we talked about it quite a bit, was there were a couple of lads who came over from across the pond, and they'd shipped over some of their Action Force vehicles. I believe, from what I understand, they actually shipped them to Full Circle Toys down in Noonan. And that's how they got them from the UK to the US, so they could then sell them in Augusta. So I knew that there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be way beyond my price point. I knew I wasn't walking out of there with a brand new or a brand new used RoboSkull or anything, and they had those for $850. I got to use the terminology they did as well. But I was like, you know what? There's some things I got to get there, and they had a ton of the SAS Panthers.
Yes.
And so I was eyeing them, and they had some with the yellow roll bars, and they had some with the black roll bars. The yellow roll bars were like $10 cheaper. But I like the black one better. But as I was eyeing it, and then I was looking at a couple other things, and when I picked this one up, they said, "Oh, we'll put those together, and we'll shave a little bit off if you buy them both." So I had to get the old SMS or the MMS here to go along with my Action Force Panther. And this one even has, like, it's complete. It's got the jerry cans in the back. It's got the steering wheel. I love this. I love this vehicle. I love this paint scheme with it. And of course, it's got slightly different wheels than the Vamp. It's got these little tinier, these like smaller hubs in the middle.
Little inserts in the middle, right?
Yeah. And same thing with this one. So they go very well together.
I love all the extra stickers and like the decals that are behind the seats.
So I do want to share more of the things I got at Joe Fest. So just real quick, I'm going to kind of lump these together because I mentioned I love that Vamp mold, and I've got a bunch of the Fun School stuff and a couple of other, like I've got the Rattler from '98 and all those, and a few others. But I happen to see this sitting around. This is the Street Fighter, the Street Striker, I believe it's called. But this is the Street Striker. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Guile's Party Wagon. I don't know.
It is not complete, but you know what? Picked it up. It's nice to have it in my collection, just to add to all my other Vamps.
I know since you have a Vamp collection, I imagine you're just going to leave that as is, so it's another representation of that mold. But I would strip those paper stickers off, order some Vamp stickers from Toy Hacks, and just.
Hey, I mean, look, if Toy Hacks does these Street Fighter stickers that are not paper, then I would order those and resticker it. Is that from the G.I. Joe Street? No, that's Street Fighter movie line, isn't it? I think it's this. Yeah, this may be the second year, because the second year was the ones that's not
G.I. Joe. I mean, it
Joe.
is, but you know what I mean.
Yep. And so then, one more thing to share today. I'll save the others for a future installment. I got a handful of Stingers. Again, I love this mold. But saw one sitting over there, and as I looked a little closer, I noticed it had not one, but two Stinger drivers in the canopy. And I was like, all right, well, I picked it up, and I was like, looked a little closer. They both are in pretty good shape. It's hard to see, but they both have their sigils in good shape. A little bit of wear on the balaclavas. But I picked it up along with it. It's like, oh, this guy looks complete. And the guy goes, and I'm going to tell you how much I paid for this. This is Dave's meme. He goes, 50 with both drivers. And like, I couldn't shell my money faster, because these two figures right here by themselves in this condition are $50. So essentially this was a free Stinger. So adding to the Stinger army, can never have too many Stingers, right?
Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. Well, I saved mine for last because mine is not only a segment that I have not delved into previously, but also there is a harrowing tale attached, which I should have filmed, but I just so often I just don't think about these things. So this is also a Joe Fest pickup. This is my first Sky Patrol acquisition, and it was bought along with another item that I will talk about in a future video, but I got a very nice deal for this and the other item. And this is in the chrome on this looks great. It was really fingerprinty when I got it, but I could tell it was going to wipe up really nicely. I'm a huge fan of the shark, but I've always had my eye. Well, all the Sky Patrol stuff is very intriguing to me because this vac metal look is just so awesome. So it's got everything is on it. The little cannons still do their thing. There we go. It's just such a neat, compact little piece, but with this vac metal on it, such an eye catcher. So I get it home and I'm cleaning all my stuff up, and I look and I realize that the black tab that sits under this piece is on top of this piece. It has been assembled incorrectly. So I spent a little over an hour. Everybody get ready. I'm going to use some adult language here. Literally sweating my ass off. I'm sitting about 2 feet in front of where I am right now. I brought a table in here because I didn't want to do this in the workshop. Taking this apart. And this does not come apart easily at all. There is a tab back here with a terrifyingly thin little vac metal plastic strip under it. There is, you have to pull you see this tab right here, little vac metal tab there.
And it's vac metal, so you don't want to use heat on it.
Right. And I knew that. And then these tabs right here were the nightmare. I could not get these to budge. I finally very, very carefully got these off, got this out, and it was, I mean, you guys, I'm sure you guys have all taken shells apart before. I had everything apart except for these tabs right here. And I finally just ever so carefully just grabbed it like this and slowly pushed and finally just got a click and got the thing apart. But the problem is, once you get the pieces apart, you have to line all of this stuff, the interior of the cockpit, because this is a separate piece, and then you have to line everything back up to put it back together. But I did it. I got it done. It was the most terrifying project I have undertaken in years, because obviously I haven't assembled a shark since 1984. So I really had to like think about, and I tried to look up videos of like how to take a shark apart, and I couldn't find anything. I'm sure they're out there. I just couldn't find them. But it was a nerve freaking racking experience, because I mean, you all know this vac metal. No, I didn't record it because I just didn't think it was going to be as intensive. Well, and also it would have been boring. It would have just been an hour.
You have a meltdown? That's what I was thinking.
No, but I wasn't melting down. I was
if you didn't record it, we need to do
a recreation.
With like the tense bomb music and the beads of sweat coming off you.
It honestly just would not have been that entertaining. Like if I had broken something, then it would have gone viral, and maybe I should buy another one and just intentionally break it and fake it, fake that out, because it would have gone viral, because I would have lost my freaking mind. But honestly, it would have been boring to watch. It really would have. But anyway, I love this thing, and I want more Sky Patrol now. I need a Sky. Is it just called a Sky Havoc?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's next on my list.
With as good as you got that back metal polished, and the way your light was hitting it, it was total Cylon vibe. That looked just gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. It looks great. So I'm excited for more Sky Patrol. Well, that is all the show we've got for this week. What a lot of stuff to talk about. I hope we covered the Haslab in enough detail, but honestly, it just comes down to it's big, it's awesome, and we're excited for it. As we're signing off, we'll do one more update. It is currently at 4,910 backers. I expect it to fund certainly before the end of the week. I
think the Rattler was like the next afternoon.
10 hours.
The Rattler was 10? I thought it took...
Wasn't it 10 hours?
I think maybe the
Dragonfly. No, wait, you're right.
The Rattler, I think, was the first one that took a second day.
Hiss was 10. Rattler was, I don't know. Somebody will correct us.
The Hiss was the fastest in Hasbro history.
Where do you guys think... Yeah, actually, no. I think the Rattler was 10, and I think the Hiss was like 6 or 8 or something. I don't know, whatever. We'll follow up. Where do you guys think this will end? I'm guessing just shy of 20,000.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good number.
Between 18 and 20.
Yeah, I was thinking around 18, just because the Hiss was 26 and the Dragonfly beat it, I believe.
I can't remember.
But the Rattler was not nearly that number.
So yeah, we'll all be happy with saying just shy of 20, and we'll be following it for the next 45 days to find out what happens. But either way, it's certainly, I think, going to hit all the tiers, no problem. We'll be back next week with an audio episode that you can hear wherever you get your podcasts. Join us July the 14th for our next live stream right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Kristian, tell us about that toy photography you do so well.
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
And Noel, clue us in about those folks called The Finest.
The Finest, the International G.I. Joe Costuming Club, raising money for a wonderful organization. Rachel Salinas earlier mentioned picking up some merch, a poster from the Finest booth. We raise money for a wonderful organization called Canines for Warriors. So check that out, thefinestcc.com.
And I will say, everyone, be cool, be kind, before you're rude to another human being, before you're cruel about another human being. Just take a second and chill out. Until next time, yo, Joe.
Cool.